If you have a rehab and you need to fix it up, it can be a challenge. There are so many things that could go wrong. It's like a million little details that you have to be aware of. If you want a pain free solution, well, good news. This is our new pain free property partner program from Creative Smart Contractors. This is Chicago's choice for owners and investors who want to rehab and sell a property without all the hassles. How do you do it? Well, fortunately, it's 7 easy steps. First, contact us. Let us know about your property. Whether you're working with us to purchase a property, note we are licensed realtors, or you want to tell us about a property you own or want to put under contract, that's great also. You don't have to work with us as the realtor if you have a licensed realtor. Or maybe you have a property that you own that's seen better days. We've done a lot of work with absentee landlords, estate sales, people who've just been in their property a long time and haven't had the ability to update it. It's okay. If you want to get top dollar for your property without having to do all the rehab work and making sure that you're putting all the effort in, that's where we come in. So, how do you contact us? Well, you can reach out to us on our website at creativesmartcontractors.com for more information. Once you go through step one, then let's talk about the rest of the steps as we go through this process. Step two is we break down the costs and profits. First, we want to know what your minimum is. What's your minimum price in order to sell? A lot of times when people are looking to sell a property that needs to be rehabbed, they'll just sell the property at whatever price they can get, which is great if you can get enough to pay all your bills, but it really prevents a problem if you can't. So what's your mortgage? What are your liens? Is there anything else on the property that we have to know about? Are there any judgments? We need to know your minimum. Once we understand what your minimum price is, then we're going to talk about just different rehab costs. And we'll go through and we'll do a free estimate of all the rehab costs for your property. Note, if you decide, hey, look, I want to do this on our own, you feel free to use our quote. We could work with you as contractors as well. But the beautiful thing about this, and we'll get into this in a little bit, if you work with us on the partner program, we'll actually finance the rehab itself, so you don't have to pay for it until it gets to closing. Ooh. Furthermore, when we're breaking down costs, we're also going to take a look at the holding costs, things as what's your monthly mortgage, your utilities, things along that nature. We're also going to take a look at your closing costs. What do we get to pay at closing costs from the sales proceeds? By the way, you don't pay closing costs until we close. And then what's the ARV? By the way, that's the final sales price or after repair value. We use a CMA, which is a comparative market analysis, which is a fancy way of saying we look at all the properties in your neighborhood and see what everything's worth. And at the end of that, we then determine what the profits are for your organization. At that point, we go a step. Correction here. So let's give an example of what this looks like in real life. So here's a project that we worked on. The seller needed $70,000 for the property. And by the way, we do have to go through and take a look to see what's on the property. So if you do have any judgments or anything like that, we do have to look into that because that will factor in to this project. Then in addition to that, we take a look at all the different rehab costs for the project. So in this case, the rehab was about $20,000. And then the holding and closing costs were about $22,000 as well. Part of that was because of the fact that we included holding costs in there for the monthly mortgage, PI, TI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Plus, we also gave a seller closing credit, especially with the new NAR regulations. So that all gets mixed into there as well. The final sales price was $146,000, which means that after selling the property, you factor in the $70,000 for the seller minimum, the $20,000 rehab, the $20,000 holding and closing costs. It was a total all in of $112,000, which means that we actually had a $34,000 profit. Now, the cool thing is, at this point, we split the profit. The seller got half of it. We got half of it. That's how we make our money. We make our money when we close. We're not making money by doing this ahead of time. We're actually making money by staking on the fact that we believe in your property, in the ability to do this. So at this point, we had a $34,000 profit, and we split it $17,500 each. It took 6 months for this project from start to finish. So once we have an idea of what the costs are, then we sign an agreement. And in that, we detail Creative Smart Contractor and the seller's different responsibilities. So, for example, in a lot of cases, we do require the seller to continue paying their monthly mortgage payment, pay their taxes, pay their insurance, all that good stuff that they've already been doing. We also provide a timeline of work so you know exactly how long this will take, because every project's a little bit different based on what's required. So, for example, if we find out that we're going to need an architect because we have to remove a wall or do something else to the property that requires structural changes, we need to account for that, because that'll change things up, because from everything from permits to even structural engineers, there's a lot of different factors involved. Also, what we do at this point is we include a memorandum of interest in the property that gives us the ability, since we're investing in your property, we're actually paying for those rehab costs, by the way. Again, I'd like to state that for the record. And that means that we have an interest in your property, and then we get that interest removed once we sell the property together. At this point, we then rehab the property. And when we rehab the property, Creative Smart Contractor does all the work, and we fund the rehab portion of the project, as I just mentioned. The catch, as I mentioned before, we get a percentage of the profit, half. So after finding, and by the way, this is after finding the buyer through the MLS. We work with you on not just rehabbing the property, we also work with you on selling the property. One quick note here: if we are working with other realtors, and the other realtor finds us the property, we will generally go through them to sell the property on the end. If we're going straight directly to sellers or investors, then we'll probably list the property ourselves. Just giving you an idea here. So if you are a realtor and you want to partner with us, we would love it. We're always looking to find new partners, because this is a partner program. Fifth, list the property. The owners of the property, the owners of Creative Smart Contractors are also licensed realtors, as I've mentioned multiple times. I personally am a realtor at Kale Realty. All the information is at the end of this video. And there's others who are at For Sale Realty. You can sign the listing agreement based on the agreement mentioned in step 3. So obviously everything will be detailed before we even get to that, but we will mention that as well. We then handle all the inspections, appraisals, and other on-site visits and things that you need to do as a real estate agent. Note, we do need an attorney. We are not licensed attorneys, nor do we play one on TV. However, I think I did play one in a theater when I was in 4th grade, maybe 5th grade. I can't remember. I don't know if that counts, but if it doesn't, we do need an attorney. 6, we sell the property. We work with the buyer or the buyer's agent to sell the property. And as it very clearly here, we now work with the other side to then get the buyer to the closing table and get everything through. Whether that's going through the inspections, the appraisals, negotiating on things, we work with you. As a seller, you can choose to give your attorney also the power of attorney. And by the way, also talk to your attorney about this. So that way you might not even have to be at closing. You might just be able to just say, hey, send me a check when this is all done, which is always a nice thing. Finally, divvying up profits. Once the deal closes, we split the profits between us. Well, first, before we even split the profits, we say, here are what our expenses are. Great, this is what the profits are. And we split it up, and then we're done. If you want to work with us again on another project, awesome. If this is a once-in-a-lifetime sale that you just need to fix up and you want to move on with your life, that's fine. Obviously, we love testimonials and reviews, but that's it. It's okay. So if you're looking to learn more about this, definitely reach out to us. I mentioned earlier, by the way, we are licensed. Here are all of our license and all their fun and glory. So definitely take a look, and I will add the contact screen at the end, so you can get in contact with us and learn more. Thank you so much. We look forward to talking to you soon about how to get into the pain-free property partner program.